When Mathias MPUUGA was asked about the humiliation the Democratic Front, his party went through of not getting any representation within Parliament, he came out to give out excuses, juvenile excuses, which I want to tackle in this video. When Mathias MPUUGA was asked, he said these statements.
A newborn Democratic Front is vanquished after an election where you could not even get a single seat in Parliament. How humiliating can this be? And what does this speak to the future of an outfit where you promised to deliver 80 MPs?
Do you store in the short-term memory? That was part of my preamble to say, I cannot describe the last exercise. It cannot pass the test of an election in which you can judge the party. And for anybody to judge the DF, and this, all public commentators need to really understand, and I can see threads of inconsistency from all public commentators. Initially, they will report about the unfairness, the brutality, the ballot staffing, the multiple voting, report about it, even comment about it. Then they'll say, you lost. Ballot staffing? So I lost multiple voting? Was that an election?
But these have been constant. And these are the elections where you've been a participant.
And that's why at all times I've been consistent saying they were not serious elections. And therefore we must cultivate a fresh culture of conducting elections. I have been condemning them and saying, I'm not sitting back on my laurels. I have been consistently saying, even after election, that we must sober up as a people to consider the fact that what we're doing to our country is not good.
That is Mathias MPUUGA. First of all, the issue of hiding behind unfair process which was orchestrated by the NRM regime is not good, because even other parties that got representation passed through the same process. But very many questions should be asked. One, the reason as to why DF failed, it was because it was built on quicksand. In fact, it was a party that was built as a district party. It's the reason as why from the president, the five biggest positions were occupied by people from one community, and at most people who come from the same districts. Secondly, DF was trying hard to build tentacles in a region that was a stronghold of NUP. Another reason may be the DF came as a result of corruption, where its own leader, Mathias MPUUGA, was caught in dubious activities within the parliamentary commission, and it was a basis upon which he formed a political party. It is the truth. And secondly, these people never had a message to sell to the people. How can you tell me that you come out with your ego, telling people on how you are the reason as why NUP got 56 members of parliament in Uganda, the reason as to why Bobi Wine is in politics, and people looked at you as if you are not counting some wisdom in them? Mathias MPUUGA, Bedi One and others used to tell us that they are the one who brought Bobi Wine to the people of Uganda. People of Uganda have known, used to know Bobi Wine even before you were known. It is the truth. Away from Masaka, Mathias MPUUGA got to be known nationally because of the position which was given to him by Bobi Wine as leader of opposition. So the purpose of this video, I've come to first interrogate the reason which was given, the excuse which was given by Mathias MPUUGA of the DF not getting any representation, what it means for our politics, and most importantly, the sedimentaries we can learn from the politics of our nation. But before I do this, I want to let you know that if you're into this channel, please subscribe. And if you're watching this video from a different platform, please head on to YouTube, type in Sula Mawagli. There's a lot of content of this nature. If geopolitics and economics is what you want, this will be definitely the right channel for you to subscribe to. First of all, if you have been my ardent follower, I came out to say that the DF, most especially Mathias MPUUGA and Bedi One, needed to win this election, even if it meant selling a hand, because it was the basis upon which they could recreate themselves in the politics of the nation. In fact, If they are not so conversant, it will be the end of their political career. This is how different politicians go. Okay? You cannot be the former leader of opposition, the president of a party, who used to tell us that you are the reasons why NUP brought 15 or more than 50 members of parliament in the 2021 election, and you failed to bring even a single member of parliament. All your honchos from the president, vice president, treasurer, etc. lost an election, and you come out and give a childish excuse. In fact, part of the reasons why Master MPUUGA gave out the actual reasons, he was right. In fact, let me first play with that tape.
To consider our legislative, our laws on elections, and of course, you know, Simon, for a fact, that the DF outed an entire framework of what we should have done a priori the last debacle of an election. The three categories of the opposition I mentioned, some of them never cared, others said we shall see. I was here before the elections. We discussed the fact that there was a problem. And my apocalypse came to pass about the voting machines, the VVR machines, and that was it. So do not invite me back to talk about the fact that the DF did not get a member of parliament, because the DF had warned about the fact that should we go into the election in the manner the EC had organized it, or in an opaque way, opaque systems, changing the rules of the game in the middle of the game. We need to be fair to those viewing this show.
Aren't you surprised that the dust has settled pretty fast? Is moving on.
No, I'm not surprised. That's why I described the three strands of the opposition. And for you to understand this, you get to understand what were the views of the various strands prior to the elections on what should have been done. Some were making positive statements, others were making normative statements. What ought to be instead of what should be. The opposition should never be seen in making normative statements. The opposition must at all times be positive in making demands that shall serve the needs of the day. Because the opposition, properly organized, properly structured, is the alternative. And the alternative must speak positively, not normatively. That's where we lose it. That's why the last election was devoid of serious issues. It was politicking and noise.
If you were true to your statement that the opposition ought to regroup and re-strategize, wouldn't it be prudent?
That is Matthias MPUUGA. Well, as it is true, we never had a free and fair election. We had an election which was brutal, violent, where the NRM regime twisted a lot of people to lose their parliamentary seat. But even when the arm twisting went on, different opposition parties fought hard to get representation. So it was incumbent upon you, at least as a president of party, because Matthias MPUUGA had everything. It's the first time, because I come from Masaka, it was the first time I saw Matthias MPUUGA spending money. Previous election, he never used to spend a lot of money. In this election, he spent money, both hard cash and soft cash. But he lost, not even competing, because the person who won Matthias MPUUGA almost doubled his vote. So it clearly tells you that the DF has had certain problems. Secondly, the DF almost spent its campaign targeting the biggest opposition party. So if you come from the bedrock of opposition, because trust me, Buganda's opposition basing on what, basing on who they voted for, that Robert Chagulanyi Sentamu, and you spent a lot of your time attacking a opposition presidential candidate. So people look at you as a saboteur. It is the truth. And in fact, if this goes on, if maybe by surprise, Genome 7, because Genome 7 can appoint some members of the DF to show that the opposition is down, okay, doesn't redeem these people, it may be the end of their political career. Because of two reasons. One, they have been in politics for a very long period of time. A person who has served for 15 years in parliament, they are prone to defeat. It's the reason why there are not very many people who have served beyond 15 years in parliament. However good they are. I'm not saying that they are not there, because in parliament there are even those who have been in parliament for 30 years. But those who have served for 15 years, you are prone to defeat, and these people have served. A person like Abedi Waneka stood for president almost 3 times. You failed to clinch an MP seat in your political party. Even the people used to come out and say that NUP is the reason that's why you came back to parliament, are right. So that was a juvenile excuse. Although you put out what we are facing, we need institutions which are built for our electoral democracy, and so that we can stop having an unfair election. Of course, as my opinion remains truly Mr. Makindi, Kabir Suleiman Magali. If you're into this channel, please subscribe, like, and comment so that I can be motivated to do more of such videos. I'll see you on another one. Peace.